today to talk about torn rotator cuffs. So as you have read previous in the course what torn rotator cuffs are, and once you've been cleared by your physician to start some yoga practice, then you might want to consider trying my top 5 poses for torn rotator cuff. So what I'm really focusing on now is strengthening the entire shoulder joint. And some people tend to think of the shoulder as very just flat and focus on the front of the shoulder, and it's a very three-dimensional joint, ball and socket joint, so you have to figure out a way to strengthen the back, the front, the top, underneath, and like I've mentioned before, always stretching and strengthening the surrounding muscles and joints to your problem area. So we're going to focus on a few more poses today that are going to build some strength. So Chelsea's here with me again today, and we might be challenging her a little bit. So if she needs to come out, you're going to have to forgive her for that, okay? So we're going to start with plank pose, all right? So she's going to come onto her hands and knees. And give some space. So before you jump in, plank pose is, for people that aren't familiar with yoga, don't practice yoga, basically top of a push-up. But there are very specific parameters to the anatomy of the pose itself. So you're going to come into your top of the push-up or your plank pose. We've talked about before, the strongest, most stable place to be is when your joints are stacked, one on top of the other. I made the reference before that you wouldn't build the Empire State Building with 30 through 40th floor displaced from the rest, because you would need support to hold it up. It's not strong, it's unstable, and that's easy to say, right? But when you're talking about your body, it's the same thing. You want to stack the joints. So plank pose, it's wrist joint, elbow joint, shoulder joint in one line. If your hands are too far forward, so just walk them forward a little bit, that creates pressure in your back. It starts to make the shoulder start to sing a little bit, right? It's a little bit annoyed, and it's a little bit harder. So bring them right underneath, your wrist joint right underneath the shoulders. As I stress in all my poses, you want to find that place to plug in. So plank pose is plugging in your fingers, palms flat, fingers spread. Even equal space between the fingers is important. That's important because you're affecting the flexors and extensors in the forearms the same. So you don't want these two fingers stuck and these nice and separate. Nice equal space between each finger. Okay? And then you're pushing the floor away, tucking the tailbone a little bit. You're really engaging the quads. You have as much energy going back through the heels as you do pushing down through your hands and out through the top of the head. So you can drop your knees for a second. Just take a little breather. You're going to hold that 1 to 3 minutes or 5 to 10 breaths until you build up the strength. That's really going to start to strengthen the whole shoulder joint as a whole. So I want to show them what not to do. So go back, setting it up, stacking the joints, perfect. So some people will be a little bit more down dog here, and they'll have their hips too high. That's not plank pose, right? That's down dog, and it definitely is very, very different from plank, especially how you access the shoulder. So the other thing people do is come back to your plank pose, and then they droop the hips, and that's not good either. So we don't want a hammock here. We want one nice line in plank pose. So if I was to have a wheelbarrow, I can go up your heels all the way out through the top of your head. Again, nice deep breathing, hold, don't panic. If you're feeling tingling or sharp knifing pain, step away, reassess, and then maybe start up again in a couple of weeks. Okay, so then take a deep breath and lower down those knees. Okay, so she's making it seem very easy, but it's very challenging to hold. So what we're going to do now is chaturanga, or going from high push-up to low push-up. And it can be a very challenging position to be in, especially when you're holding it. But it's going to build tremendous strength in the entire shoulder joint, as well as the chest and the arms. Okay, so I'm going to give her a variation, and it might be something you want to consider when you're just starting to do chaturanga. So we're going to we get a yoga strap, and you make a circle. And you're going to make the circle as big as shoulder width apart for her. So if you want to face the camera and just see, she's not wider than shoulder, she's not tighter than shoulder, right in line, stacking those joints, right? So then turn back around, and you're going to come onto your hands and knees. So obviously you're going to have to put a little tension, because if she gives herself some slack, the strap's going to fall down. You want the strap above your elbow, just above your elbow, in a place where the buckle's not going to hurt you too. Palms flat, fingers spread. That's her plug in the socket. That's where she draws up her energy and makes sure she's accessing the shoulders safely. Okay? Go up into your plank pose. Plank pose, just like we learned before. And now you're going to lower to low push-up, or it's a chaturanga movement. So technically in chaturanga, your wrist joint and elbow joint are a 90-degree angle, just like Chelsea is. Some people go too low, some people stay high, and they're not building the proper strength in their shoulder. Shoulders squeeze together behind you, and your heart comes through. Heart always leads the head. Always have equal push back through your feet as well, and you can hang out here. If you don't have the strap, you're not going to be able to stay more than a breath or two. She can hang out here because it's giving her support, and that's why it's really great to start here. If you've never done this, whether you're a teacher, even a yoga teacher, and you've never even heard of this, you should do it because it's the most amazing thing ever. You could stay here forever and really start to learn how to open the shoulders, make the chest broader, squeeze the shoulder blades back behind you, and be in this beautiful chaturanga position. And then go back up to your plank pose. Good. And then drop the knees. So if you have the strap, you can do that several times, and while you're in chaturanga, just roll the shoulders up, back down, making sure palms are flat, fingers spread, and stick around and stay there. If you don't have the strap and you're in next level building strength, then you're going to want to stay deep breath or two, and maybe go into a down dog after. Okay, so let's drop the strap. That's awesome, the strap, right?
Yeah.
It's revolutionary.
It's first time chaturanga has ever been fun.
Don't say that. So come to standing, and now we're going to do a warrior two. So warrior two definitely will access the legs, but what I like about it is you're starting to build strength in the spine, length in the spine so you can deepen the breath, and you're also building strength in the legs and core, okay? In addition, we're going to get traps, top of the shoulder, neck, and side of the deltoid. So we're strengthening that shoulder in all directions. So you're going to take your feet about the distance apart, the length of one of your legs. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So the space between your feet is approximately the length of one of your legs. So we're thinking about a very equilateral triangle that you're making. Okay, we're going to turn the right foot straight ahead, and left foot's going to stay out, and you're going to slowly bend that right knee to 90 degrees. As you go down 90 degrees, your arms are going to come up, shoulder height. Good. So I'm going to stay here. Now, she's going to hold this. This doesn't seem that difficult. Very challenging on the legs. Very challenging on the spine to lift, breathe deep, keep the shoulders open, don't collapse them. Maybe you can roll them up, back down, and you're zapping through your fingertips with a lot of energy. You don't want to be forward like that, and you don't want to be back like that. You want to be right in your center, spine's perpendicular to the floor. Shoulders are dropping down. Technically, your gaze is always going to be on your front middle finger, and you're just going to hold it there. Good. I would suggest you stay here 30 seconds to a minute. Super challenging for the arms, super challenging for the legs. Then go ahead, straighten that right leg. And clearly, you got to do it on the other side. Even though it seems like you're working the arms the same, you're working the core and the spine differently, so still do your warrior two on both sides. Okay? Good. So don't make her stay as long. Come out of it. And one of my bonuses here is after you do that, I want you to take your arms out. This is a surprise sneak attack, Chelsea. And you're going to set your timer for 1 minute, and you're going to flap your arms. And you're going to get them moving. And this actually comes from your feet. Did you ever do hula hoop when you were little?
Yeah.
And you got to kind of use your whole body. Flap your arms, flap, 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 flap. Really brings a lot of warmth to the arms, strength in the arms. It is way harder than it looks.
Yes, it is.
And I don't, since she's being a little wishy-washy here, I don't want that. I don't want this. This is what I get mad at my class for.
I'm not doing that.
Yes, you are. I don't want this. I want you to flap. I want you to flap like you're doing a hula hoop. 30 seconds to a minute. You might love, hate me, but it's really accessing that shoulder and shaking it out, and then let the arms drop down. So we're going to take it back out now. Our next pose is going to be triangle pose. Opening up chest, anterior deltoid, and strengthening back of the shoulder, spine, and neck, surrounding joints. Taking the feet again, about as wide as the length of one of your legs. Just like warrior two, turn the right foot out, straight ahead. You're going to turn the back foot in just a little bit. Okay? Legs are going to stay straight and strong this time. Chelsea's going to bring her arms up, take a deep breath in. Spine is long. Don't go into this pose already collapsed. This is your opportunity to be nice and long. And then reach over and slide the back of that right hand down the inside of the leg. You're going to press the back of the hand against the inside of the leg, and that push gives you torque to open. And we're opening up. Anterior deltoid chest. When that's collapsed, you can't get your full range of motion, then your back starts to get involved, and your shoulder cannot open up and give you the power that you want. So you need to be nice and open. You can hold here. A nice thing, and we happen to be right here, if you're new at this, is go all the way against the wall with your feet and slide down. Use the wall. Now you know if that top shoulder's open, because if it's not touching the wall, you need to lean, right? You don't have to worry about your balance, because this really isn't about balance, right? It's more about opening up. She's pushing here, she's lifting and opening here, getting tremendous length with her breath, so more opening, more flexibility. I like to bring the left arm up around my face and big circles. 5, 10, 15 circles. Keep the head extended so you're building that strength in the neck and the traps at the same time. And if you want to go the other way, you can go the other way as well. Good. And then core is going to be tight. She's going to push down into her legs and come up to standing. It's delicious against the wall, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about your balance, because that's not really what we're working here. It's all about shoulder focus for us, for now anyway. So obviously you would do the other side. Same thing, we're not going to do it right now. But what we are going to do is go into revolving triangle, which is deepening the flexibility in the spine. This is also a little bit about mental toughness and focus. And we're going to use the block for support this time. So feet again. The length of one of your legs, turn the front foot out. So I get into revolving triangle a little bit different than some people do. You are going to turn your hips to the front of your mat. This is essentially setting up for a warrior one. I want you to bend that right knee a little bit. Left arm's going to come up to the sky. Okay? So she's already starting to open up the side body, getting strength, just holding that shoulder in that position. And you're going to hinge over, chest and belly to the thigh, keeping the length, keeping the length. And she's going to I'm going to show you the beginner way. As you become better at this, you can look up ways to get deeper and more advanced in this pose. We're going to take the block on the inside of her foot. You're going to bring the left hand down onto the block. Good. The important part here is to keep her hips square and to keep a nice flat back. She's going to push down into that left block with the left hand, and you're going to reach your right arm out now. So you're getting a lot of opening now on that right side, and you're going to start to circle the arm open and open your chest to the back wall, okay? She's pushing down through the hand, down through that back leg, getting length and twisting open. Once she gets there, if she feels she's square enough and strong enough, you could start to make this pose a little more difficult and straighten your right leg. So those of you that have hip issues or IT band problems, this is an awesome thing for you to do here. You want to maybe extend out and back bend just a little bit more here. Stick your heart out. Good. Lead with the heart, not with the head. Beautiful. Hold it here. You could do this variation, or you can reach up, get length, reach your arm up over your head, palm facing the floor, and hold it there. This is a killer. Not one of my favorite poses. Hold 5, 10 breaths, and then bring both hands to the floor, bend the front knee, and roll yourself up to standing. Great. Have the feet together. You would do the other side. How did that feel?
Okay.
Okay. It's a little challenging, but my variations really tap into the structure and functionality of your shoulder, whereas other variations you might read on the internet on how-tos is all about legs and hips. That is involved, but it's about wringing out that spine, getting mobility in your spine so you can open the chest a little bit more and get deeper into the shoulder joint. So we did arm circles, which you might not see those variations either. You could do arm circles in the revolving triangle too. So torn rotator cuff, my top 5 favorite yoga poses for rehabilitating and strengthening and stretching the shoulder joint are chaturanga, plank, warrior 2, triangle, and revolving triangle. Try all 5, try 1 or 2, do them as much or as little as helps you personally. Don't forget to tune into your body when you're doing it, and breathe, breathe, breathe.